Hey guys, this is Ash, and you're watching WriterGAsh. So the year is on its way out, and I wanted to bid farewell to 2020 with my top 20 of 2020. So without further ado, let's just get into it, and I can talk about the books I read this year. So coming up at number 20 is If I Never Met You. It's about a lawyer who is coming out of a really long, I think an 18-year long relationship. And she starts a fake relationship with this guy because her ex suddenly has a pregnant girlfriend and they work together. And it's just really messy. So it's an interesting book. It takes an interesting look into a person's life. And this year I've been reading a lot more books focused on older individuals. So, and I've really been enjoying that. And this was just one of those books I really loved because it was more mature, the characters were less wishy washy, and that was just a fun read. At number 19, I have Crazy Stupid Bromance, and that's part of the, what's that series? Yep, the Bromance Book Club. And I found that series really fun and different because it was written in a way that kind of combated a lot of toxic masculine ideologies. They called it out a lot of the times in the books, and I absolutely love when people do that. And it was a fantastic read. And similarly, on number 18, I have Undercover Bromance, also part of the series. I would recommend those books completely. And yeah, you guys should give it a shot if contemporary romance is something you enjoy. It's focused more on the male character's perspective, which I really enjoyed a lot. And what I loved even more was the friendships we get to see between the characters. We rarely get to see that kind of friendship from male characters in contemporary romances. So that was fantastic. Um, and number 17, we have What Are Friends For? So in this book, the two protagonists are basically helping their friends meet people like try to connect with people online, but they're the ones like typing everything and chatting with each other, and they kind of start liking each other, but they think they're like the other person's friend. It's complicated to explain, but it's a really good story about friendship and romance, and I would definitely recommend this as well. It goes without saying that everything on this list is recommended. Up next at number 16, we have The Flat Share. It's about two people who are basically sharing an apartment. They're not living in it at the same time. There's one room, and basically one person stays there during the day and one at night because of their schedules, and they start like bonding even though they don't ever see each other, and it's super cute, and it's just a really fun breezy book. I've really been getting into contemporaries this year. I've been in a reading slump. Fantasies were not appealing to me at all, and contemporary still gave me the chance to read and escape without committing to things as much. Because with contemporaries, I can just read them in a day and I'm done. And it's fun and it's easy and it's just a great escape. But also, I feel more with fantasies, as you're going to see as we go down this list. Um, Next up, at number 14, we have 10 Things I Hate About Pinky. It was a super relatable book. The character is much younger than I am, but I still found her super relatable. Um, the fact that she and I shared the same name definitely helped the fact, but it was a super fun, cute book, but it also addressed more serious things. Um, a lot of things that I've seen in my own culture, and that was why this book was extremely relatable for me. At number 13, I have Crushing It, and it was a book about this girl who struggles with speaking in public and her taking on the challenge because she wants to present her new game at a convention, but her co-worker doesn't think she has the confidence to do it, so she's trying to prove to herself and to him that she can do it, and she participates in this open mic night, and it's super fun. And again, go read it. It's a great fun book. At number 12, we have Beach Read. Definitely one of my favorite contemporaries this year. It's about two authors who live next to each other on this beach, and the girl has just moved there after her dad's death, and it's his old house, so she's just living there and trying to write her book, and he's trying to write his book, and they have like this bet going now. Whoever can write a book from the perspective of the other person, and by perspective I mean like they write two different genres, and they just have to write like the opposite kind of stories. So she has to write a story with a sad ending, and he has to write it with a happy ending, and like he has to write a rom com thing. And it's just super fun, and the way it's written is fantastic. Again, go ahead and pick it up. It's a quick read. Like, it took me 12 hours to read it. It was really fun and easy. At number 11, I have The Red Scroll of Magic. The reason this book is so low in my top 20 is because it was hard to get into. I enjoyed it, but it took me a while to get to enjoying it. After a certain point, I started breezing through it and I got invested in it. I love these characters, which is why I couldn't understand why I wasn't getting into the book. It's just, I don't think the writing style felt very Cassandra Clare to me, which, I mean, it was written by another author as well. So, of course, that makes sense. But, like, the way the story was written was hard for me to get into it first. But once I got into it, I, of course, was breezing through it. The same applies to my number 10, The Lost Book of White. I struggled getting into it, but once I was in, I was in. Like, it took me 2 months to get into it. Like, I started reading it. I kept stopping every couple of pages, and it took me a while to actually get into this world. So at number 9, we have Four Dead Queens, and it was the first fantasy I read this year, and it was super fun and interesting. I hadn't been reading a lot of fantasy at that point, so I was glad to get back into it. Mm, So this is about a 17-year-old girl who basically is a thief, and she steals this package from a messenger, and in doing so she kind of puts his life at risk, and then she tries to help him take the message to the person he's supposed to take it to. And in the middle there's a lot of the stuff happening, and at the end there is definitely twists I did not see coming. I would definitely recommend picking this up if you're in for a quick fantasy, because it's a standalone and it's really short for a fantasy, and it was super fun to get into and super breezy. um at number 8, we have Get a Life, Chloe Brown. It is a super fun story about this girl who suffers from chronic pain, and she's just trying to live her life now after kind of hiding away from the world for a while, and she's trying to get back out there and just do the things that make her happy. She has like a list of things she wants to do that, like, just get a life. And it's super fun. We kind of see her dynamic with her sisters a little bit, and her relationship with the superintendent at her building, Red, and just a fun story. She helps him come out of his shell, he helps her come out of hers. And it's just one of those cute romances with a beautiful story behind it. At number 7, I have Take a Hint, Danny Brown. This is about Chloe's sister Danny, and I found that book incredibly relatable because Danny, like me, I want to go into academics, and she is in academics, which is why it was super fun. I love reading about female characters who are in academics, and it was just fun. And the two characters were so different. That's what made the book even better. I loved this book even more because of the differences between them, and just how, despite those differences, they make such a perfect couple. Beyond that, I have really been enjoying reading about characters from different backgrounds lately, and these books were just perfect. Anyway, disclaimer, these are rereads, and these books I'm pretty sure have been on previous top 10s, but I just reread them recently and I had to put them on this year. They're fantastic. So at number 6, we have Rhapsodic. It's one of those fae human, well, siren romances, and this main character, the male protagonist, reminds me of Recent. He's It's not like they're the same person, but like he has bat wings like Reese, and it's just a great story, and I love this series. Which is why number 5 is A Strange Hymn, which is the second book in this series. I never reread the third one. Well, I read scenes from it. I never reread the whole book, so that's why it's not on this list, and it's not in my Goodreads reading list either. Anyway, now we're on to number 4. Absolutely loved this book, The Ghost of the Shadow Market. this was definitely one of my favorites because of the Malik story with their kids. That was my favorite story of the year. Like if that was just a book, that would be my top book of the year because it was just the best. That was, I think, Cassie's best work. It was just so cute and it's just fantastic. I also loved Anna's story and Matthew's story. I enjoyed reading stuff from the 1900s, which I didn't think I would. But Cassie just writes her characters so well, which makes the books, regardless of the time it's set in, even better. Which brings me to number 3, which is Chain of Gold. Loved Chain of Gold. Fantastic book. I am looking forward to Chain of Iron. I put in a pre-order for the Waterstone book with the exclusive cover, gold foiling stuff. I've been dying to get the other ones because I definitely missed all of the ones except for the Lord of Shadows. And they don't have it at Waterstones anymore. And the eBay ones are like $300. I'm not spending $300 on a book, on one book. It's just, I wish I could get that, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna get the second book. And maybe I'll just do it for the second books. I'll only get the second books and then have a collection of normal, second, and then normal again. Anyway, for number 2, we have House of Earth and Blood from the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I have been putting it off for so long. I got it. I got the ebook the moment it came out, and I've been meaning to pick it up. And I finally picked it up like a month ago. And then I kept reading parts of it and then stopping. The first few chapters are such an info dump, it was like hard to get into. But once I got past the info dump and got into the actual story, it was fun, amazing. Bryce might even be one of my favorite Sarah J. Maas characters. She was complex, and her friendship with Danica was beautiful, and her as just a person was fantastic. I am really not looking forward to what Sarah J. Maas does to her in Hunt. I am not looking forward to it. If any of Sarah J. Maas's past books are indication of what's gonna happen, I'm gonna be heartbroken. With Tamlin, it made sense. And with Kale, it also made sense, but with Hunt, I don't know how she's gonna justify it if she does go that way. I'm gonna do a book talk about this, so we're gonna talk about that there. Anyway, now we're at number 1, and for number 1, we have The Queen of Air and Darkness. I know a lot of people had more negative views on this book because it wasn't a great conclusion, but it's not a conclusion. It's just a middle book in the series between Dark Artifices and the Wicked Powers, and it got me in all my feels. It made me cry, it made me laugh, it was just fantastic. Not, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, I don't cry that easy, even when it's books. And this book made me cry. It made me cry a lot. So yeah, this definitely tops my list, and that's it for this video, and you guys have an amazing end of the year.